Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do a simple process on how to transfer our data from an existing Xbox One S or One X or even Xbox Series X to another system. So in this situation, I'm going to demo for you. I'm upgrading from the Xbox One S from 2016 to the brand new Xbox Series X from 2020. And of course, I'm going to be using the My Passport SSD 1TB drive that I reviewed to you guys not that long ago to be able to do this process. Very easy, very simple, and very, very fast. This is TK. Let's check it out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. The process that we're going to do today requires us to use the USB port on the front part of our devices. This is the Xbox One S here with the USB Type A, and again with the Xbox Series X also with the front-facing USB Type A. The drive that we're going to be using here is called the My Passport SSD from WD, and it's a 1TB drive that has a built-in SSD drive inside. And all we're going to do essentially is connect to this port and of course reconnect to this port once we're done transferring our content from the old system to the new one. Again, this process will work exactly in the same process if you're transferring it from an old 1S to a new 1S or to a new 1X or even the Series X. It pretty much just runs the exact same way. Let's go ahead and get into the Xbox One S first. The process of transferring your data from your old system to your new system is pretty simple actually. The main thing you want to do is obviously make sure you're running the latest version of your software. So in this situation, I'm running basically the latest UI for my Xbox One S. It did receive the update, and coincidentally, this is the same interface that we have now on the Xbox Series X. So the main thing you want to do is if the drive doesn't automatically prompt you, so let's go ahead and plug in the drive that I shared with you guys. Again, this is the My Passport SSD from Western Digital. It's a 1TB drive. Now, once you plug it in, automatically it should recognize it. This should automatically come for you. And if it does come up, there's a couple of things you want to know. If you're using this to play media off of it, meaning you want to just be able to play some videos, some pictures, and things that you have already on it, you want to be able to use the use for media, which means this will not be formatted and you cannot use this drive to transfer your data. For you to be able to use it to transfer data to your new system, you need to format it as storage device. We're not going to do it here. We're going to actually do it from the standard menu, meaning I'll go ahead and go over. Let's go ahead and bring down, we'll go down to the settings tab. We'll go under system, and then from system, we're going to go down to storage. And in the storage, you'll notice that we only see one drive. That's the drive that comes built into our Xbox One S. So if you have a 500 model, the 1TB model, whichever you have internally, this is what shows up automatically for you right now. So I went ahead and unplugged and replugged in my device, and I'm going to actually just show you guys that I'm going to use it for media. Now, after selecting it as media, it shows up as an external drive. I can see that it's 1TB. There's 131 gigabytes available from there. But the main thing is that I cannot actually access it to transfer data, and I'll explain to you what I mean. So we'll go ahead and select the internal storage, and I want to say move or copy under that. From the move or copy, you can go in here, go to the right side, just say select all. But you'll notice that the copy selected or move selected is not showing. And that's purely because we use this as media. If I select this once and I say I want to say format for games and apps, this is where it allows us to be able to transfer it to the system, meaning I can actually use this as an internal storage. So I'll go ahead and say format. I'll give it a second. It says format storage device. Again, this is the same menu. And you'll notice it carries the name that comes with it. I'm just going to go straight down here to the bottom right. I'll go ahead and click that and say install things here or keep current location. I don't want to change anything to the internal storage of the Xbox. I just want this as external or additional storage. So I'll go here and say format storage device. We're going to give it a few seconds. It's going to be depending on the speed of your internal drive, but it could be pretty fast. So you'll notice right now, here, now it says games and apps. It's a little bit different. We'll go back into internal again, move or copy, and I'm going to go ahead and say select all, and I'm pretty much just going to go in here and say copy selected. Then it's going to take us to this screen. It says you're about to copy 28 things to the internal MyWD passport, which is the drive that we just made, and I'll go ahead and say copy. And that's going to go through and it'll take its own time. Again, depending on the internal speed or the speed of the drive that you're going to be using, this could take anywhere between 5 minutes to up to an hour. And of course, depending on how much content you have on your device, that's how long it'll take. You'll notice that on the bottom left here, we're noticing there's a progress now. I went back into the actual drive. This is the MyWD drive. And you'll notice that the 931 gigs that we had available before is going to start diminishing. By means the percentage will go up. So give it enough time. Once it's done, we'll need to basically take this drive and then plug it into our brand new Xbox One X. Now, one of the really good things about this is that this process will work the same way if you're transferring it to another Xbox One S or if you're using, let's say, a different Xbox. As long as you're running the same software, you should be able to do this very simply. In this case, we're using obviously the Xbox Series X, so I'm going to go ahead and just plug in the drive. And once we plug it in, you'll notice on the bottom of the screen, it says the MyWD access, well, the drive itself actually became available. Similarly, the way we did it on the Xbox Series S, we just go into system, then we go into storage. Now, because we already already formatted and we have our data already saved there, all we have to do essentially is just go into the actual drive, and again, we can either see the content, we can also move or copy. So we'll go ahead and say move or copy. We go all the way to the right, we say select all, and then we say copy. At this point, it's going to ask us basically if we want to be able to copy this data over to the internal storage. Now in this situation, I've already copied this info, and this is why I'm not doing it again. But you can see here that all my content's already transferred. Once it's done, you can either keep this drive separately, because it again can be used for games and apps, or you can basically just take it out and put it back on your PC and format it to use it with any other device. The benefit here is that you definitely get the ability of transferring all your saved content, all your downloadable content, especially characters. In this situation for me, we play Dragon Ball Fighter Z here, and for me all of this information here gives me the ability of actually transferring the content that I downloaded there. I purchased a lot of characters there that I don't want to re-download separately. This is much easier and faster, and again, you have access to all of the applications as well as the groups and of course the games that you've downloaded on your system. Now once you're done transferring your data, and let's say you want to be able to use your drive again with other PCs, there is something that you need to do, and that's the ability of actually converting it back to a standard hard drive. When it's formatted with the Xbox file system, it actually becomes unusable, meaning you cannot actually see it on your drives. And what you can see here essentially is that I have all 4 of my internal drives, then none of them are the WD drive that I had on my Xbox. So what we need to do is on your computer, go to a program or type in the search box, computer management, and then from there you'll get this menu. Once you get that, you'll go ahead and be able to get actually the notification to open up or initialize that drive. If we scroll back down to the bottom here, we'll notice that the drive, even though we know that there is content on this, our games are on there, I've already transferred my content off of that drive. All I need to do here is right click and say new simple volume, say next, next again, and of course next. Last thing we can also do here is give it a name, and I went ahead and renamed it again, WD My Passport 1 terabyte SSD. I'll go ahead and hit OK and say finish. And then it'll format it actually quite quickly, and you'll notice that the actual system here now recognizing it. So if I go to this PC, now I have the additional drive that I can actually use. And again, you can access it, transfer, put things into it, and of course, you could connect it again to your Xbox if you want to be able to use it for media. The entire process is extremely simple. The same menu system that we use on the old system we'll use on the new one. The main thing you want to keep in mind again is that once you're done transferring your data, you do need to reformat that drive for it to work on your PC, on your Mac, on your Android device. Again, if you'd like a full review of that drive specifically, I'll give you guys a link in the description below, as well as a card right there. The entire process was actually pretty simple. I set up the Xbox Series X, logged in with my account, transferred all my data, and it was simple as that. All I had to do was plug in the disc again, because I'm using a disc version here, and it was pretty simple. It loaded up all my games, all my characters that I purchased before, all the applications, my avatar. My settings were saved to the cloud and they were restored. So for the entire process, in case you ever have to replace, let's say an Xbox or something like that, and you want to be able to transfer your data, this is going to be the easiest, simplest way to do it. Thank you very much for the support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.